Hi, this is Carlos Herrera with H3 Construction and Development. We actually do our own development and we have a general contracting firm as well. We're here on behalf of Washington Capital Partners to take a look at a project in Northeast DC that didn't sell even though it was completed and on the market. We've come up with 6 categories of areas to take a look at and see what went wrong and what rehabbers can do to make sure this doesn't happen to them. So I have identified 6 major categories to help rehabbers avoid critical mistakes in renovating, whether it's your first house or 10th house, to keep in mind. The first category is have a realistic budget. As a rehabbers, most of us are very optimistic. So when the wholesaler tells us that it'll only cost 25 grand to renovate a 3,000 square foot house because it just needs lipstick, you really need to understand, is that really the case? And you really have to budget, because the bigger the house, the bigger the budget. And the bigger the budget and the bigger the house, the bigger the mistakes you will find behind the walls. So you have to have a realistic budget. Secondly is, no matter what your budget is, you have to have reserves, cash reserves, so you can meet unexpected problems that come up. And sometimes those are related to layout. Maybe you didn't intend to move a wall, but really, and in this case, if you want to do $1 million house, you got to really have great layout, and key areas of the house have to be fixed. Second, not having a good or tested contractor. General contractors are key in doing any rehab, and that is, more importantly, if you are the general contractor and you have subs, you really have to manage subs, because subs are worse if you're managing them as opposed to a general contractor. But the general contractor has to be somebody that you trust, who's been tested, or who has great referrals and you've actually seen their work and talked to more than one person, because having one good reference is not enough when you're trying to undertake a project, especially a rehab where you have your money, the bank's money, and maybe even private investors' money. Third is, you have to understand the market in which you are selling your home. In this particular case, this house was supposed to sell for $1 million. So if you're doing your market research, and whether this is your first one in the $1 million range or this is your 10th one, you have to know your market. So the best way to know market is you walk through other houses that are selling for $1 million to see what the competition is selling for. And you check out pictures on the MLS as well, so you can understand what does it look like, and will my house look like that when I'm done? Fourth, you need to have somebody responsible for actively managing your project. So if you're a first-time rehabber and you have a full-time job and you've been dying to do rehabs because you've been watching the TV shows and see how easy it is for them to do it, you actually have to manage your project yourself. Although you may have a good trusted general contractor, you have to manage what's going on, because if you don't manage it, there are chances your general contractor won't manage it unless you're paying him to do that. And if you're just using subs and you think, I'll get a plumber, electrician, carpenter, well, that's even more critical, because subs really don't care about the overall project. They only care about their specific task, and somebody has to manage the whole project. Fifth, you have to manage for quality. So in smaller projects, you can get away with some of the lack of quality, maybe because it's a lower price range. But for $1 million house, there's a lot of competition for you in that category. Just the same as if there was a $400,000 house or a $500,000 house. You have to know the competition. And if you manage for quality, you will sell faster and for more money than if you just haphazardly put everything together. And that goes back to your budget. Do you realistically have enough money in the budget or enough cash reserves to deal with the problems and really have this done right? In this house, there are a lot of problems in quality that will deter somebody from buying this house at $1 million. And sixth and final one is presentation. Every house tells a story, and the worst story that a house can possibly say is that when you don't deal with first impressions, it's kind of like a date, you have somebody coming in, if at the front of the house, before they even get in, they start to notice things that don't look well, they don't look right, they weren't done well, and there's a question of quality, the story might get worse from there on in. It's really about first impressions and understanding what is key to buyers. And to buyers, what is key is kitchens and baths and quality, particularly if you're doing a house, I would say from $300,000 on up. Quality is important, and the presentation at the time of sale is important. The front the inside, and the back in that order. And that's the 6 categories that we're going to go into in more detail with this house, and we will actually show you particular aspects of this house that'll help you, if you're interested in any one of these categories, to click on one of the videos for this. So thanks.